Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, I'm your host. Dysfunctional. One half of two podcasts, Rather Hasten Over, Thoughts from Your Boy podcast. Coming to you live and direct with it's okay to be depressed. First off, let me make a caution statement. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not going to prescribe medicine, but I will tell you some things. So, if you're depressed, it's not a bad thing. It's not the end of the world. First off, it's not. And more people are learning to accept that mental illness is a real thing. I, however, suffer from manic depression. And the fact that I suffer from that, I am a great person to tell you about it and tell you that you can make it through it. Some people need medicine, some people self-medicate, but all in all, depression is okay. It's not your fault. Something happened to you that was traumatic, and by this point, hopefully you're past the I'm a victim stage, which means that if you pass the I'm a victim stage, like I said, medication can help. Therapy definitely helps. You know, the things that we don't understand tend to weigh heavy on our brains. Without a direct course of how to alleviate what's on our brains, we could basically go insane. Yes, you can go insane being depressed. Another thing about depression, people don't know, everybody suffers from depression. Everybody don't suffer from clinical depression, but every person has depressed moments in their life. Perfect example, The Rock. After he lost his football scholarship and he only had $75 or $7 in his pocket, one of them, it's 75 or 7. And then he decided to go into the family business. Nothing's wrong with that. Everybody don't have that escape or that chance at reality, so it's different. But I tell you this, depression, like I said, comes from a chemical imbalance in your brain, a traumatic situation. That's what I'm trying to say. Depression comes from a tragic situation. Mine, however, was I've been going through a lot of traumatic situations, but mainly the one that had me facing depression real bad. I guess before I tell you that, I guess I have to tell you who I am. So I grew up in California as a child. I was born up north. The part of California I'm from, close to LA. In my day as a child, we were latchkey children. We had keys to our houses, 7 and 8, to come home on our own. I'm not gonna say when we feel like it, but on our own. My mom worked 2 jobs, so she was barely at home. Not her fault, but you got to make do for your kids. So what happened was, while I was this latchkey kid, a traumatic experience happened to me. I'm not going to talk about that right now. A traumatic experience happened to me when I was 7. I put myself in dangerous places after that, and I seen traumatic experiences. Several. By the time I was 13, we were up and moving to Alabama. And by the time I was 16, I experienced another traumatic event. So, traumatic events just seem to keep coming in my life. Not saying that everything that I go through is traumatic, but these few incidents were. They were very detrimental on the person that I become. For the longest time, however, I didn't feel like I had a mental illness. I didn't even know I had a mental illness. I just respond or did not respond well to different situations. I always try to be a stand-up man, but by the time I was 22, I had a mental break. I blacked out and almost hurt someone. Well, I hurt someone. I blacked out and hurt someone. And when I got out of jail, I was seeking answers to what was going on with me. And one of those answers were, sir, you are manic depression. So with manic depression, like I said, everybody suffers from depression at some point. But the difference is everybody can't snap out of it as fast as everybody else can. Someone who's not clinically depressed wouldn't really understand what depression is. But it takes away your drive. It takes away your need to function and be around people. It slowly shuts you down to the point where you become a log, or you sit there and you become paranoid about everything, or you just feel like no one cares about you. I guess that could be the biggest burden. Feeling like nobody else cares about you. That no one cares what you're going through. Everybody says, shake it off, toughen up, do something different. It's not that easy. It's never been that easy. If it was ever just that easy as people be thinking it is, there would not be a such thing as manic depression, clinic depression. It wouldn't be those things. Again, I'm not trying to preach. I'm just saying. So seeing that it's a chemical imbalance in your brain that comes from traumatic experiences, how do you deal with it? Well, I guess you could say I'm on the high end of it mostly, because my manic was, my manic was constantly highs. I had a lot of highs. I'd blow money. I make rash decisions. I do spontaneous things. I had a very high sex drive. At one point in my life, every problem I had, I tried to screw it away. That's not positive or conducive, but it happened. So, at the present stage I'm at now, I'm on medicine. My lows, however, had me trying to off myself. My lows had me trying to off other people. My lows had me just ready to crash out on anything and just about anybody. What brought me back from the ledge, I should say, is the fact that I have these two wonderful children in my life, and I just couldn't see giving up on them. But before I ever had kids, my crash out was self-harm. So self-harm was really high on my my schemometer. So high, I think I tried 6 to 7 times to take myself out of the game before I had kids. Maybe once or twice while I had kids. Now, I don't say that to say I have all the answers. Again, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, it's not your fault that you're depressed, but you can make it through. You just got to find that one thing that you care about more than anything else and reach for it. The closer you get to it, the further you'll pull yourself away from the depression. Now, if you don't have that one thing, then it's going to be really hard. If you're lackadaisical in a haze and you don't know whether you're going or coming, it can be very, very dangerous to whether or not you'll pull through. Being depressed can cause other mental illnesses to occur. I don't tell everybody that you should get on medicine, because medicine don't work the same on everybody. Whatever works for one person may not be your cocktail, your calliope. Weed works for some people. I'm not advocating that because in the South that's not legal. But some kind of way they're gonna make legal marijuana in Alabama. It just won't be a flower. So if you need the peel or the patch when it comes out, I suggest you get one. Alcohol, people think, is a great self-medication. Alcohol increases depression. Think about it. Most times when you drink, you have negative or depressed thoughts in your head. The more liquor you drink, the more you become depressed. Also, if you drink liquor to be happy, at some point you'll stop being happy because that's not what liquor does. Now, you can tell me how it makes you feel, exuberant, lifeful, whatever. That's not those real effects. That's the fake alcohol effects that you think are beneficial. But I'm telling you that alcohol is a depressant. It have you second guessing and thinking about why are you going through these things, and won't nobody be there to tell you otherwise, if that makes sense. Depression can set in from the loss of a loved one, the loss of a friend, the loss of someone's life that you hold dear or look up to. These can all be